the Dirty Sports Podcast. I said, welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast with Andy Ruther and Joe Prano. Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast.
Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Ruther, coming to you live from Cincinnati, Ohio, with my co-host from Port Hueneme, California, Joey No Chill Prano.
Hello, Andy.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. How's it going over there in Cincinnati?
It's good, man. It's good. Finally getting some good spring weather. All about that. So, I'm not complaining. I trying to avoid that heat. You know how it is.
It's extremely warm here today as well. I don't know. I just getting up and at 'em after a long drive home from Tahoe yesterday, but got up this morning, had my Knicks warm-up jacket on, got out here to the shed, sat down, started plugging everything in. I was like, it's t-shirt weather in the shed.
So, when did you get back?
11:30 last night. We basically did the same drive. Both ways we left around 3 or 4. Both times got back. We left 3 from here on Thursday. Got up there at 11:30. Left 4 yesterday. Got back at 11:30. About to check my Miller Lite mini fridge here to see what kind of damage Justin did. Surprisingly little.
So, Randy Ruther was holding down the fort.
Randy Ruther was holding down the fort. As far as I can tell, I don't know if Randy drank a beer out of this fridge. That's concerning. Is Randy sober?
No, because he sent me. I'm sure he sent it to you. Somebody gave him a Miller Lite hat at the bar he goes to. I'm like, that's just a sign. That's just a sign you're an alcoholic.
Yeah, yeah.
like they're bringing you.
It's a Miller High Life hat. A Miller Lite hat would have been a sign that he is a very responsible drinker.
True, it was a Miller High Life. How's the? Do you have hard liquor there? Like, what's going on there?
There's some hard liquor in the house. I don't know. Randy usually tunes into these shows. We'll need an update. Maybe he brought his own booze. I don't know. Maybe he did a detox weekend, just hanging with Bob. But I was like, dude, the shed is yours. I told him, I drank every last Miller Lite while watching the game the other day. But I keep my top shelf of this fridge stocked with Miller Lite until I, again, drank it out during the last game. I lived from here. But the bottom is a variety of beers that, I've acquired one way or the other that I keep for guests. So, just to give people some options. And I was like, I'm sorry that I'm not. Maybe he's mad at me because I didn't leave him with Miller Lights, which is possible. But I was like, he even was like, oh, I love Delirium, man. You got some Delirium down there. It looks like every single beer I left here is here except for the Miller Lights, which I drank.
Do you think he just spent that time? I bet. Here's what I think. Someone like him, I think he just the percentage of his day on Bengals deep dives.
He didn't even make it to the fridge because he never got off Bengals Reddit. Is that your suggestion?
Like, I'm talking Bengals everything.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's just like Flight of the Navigator with like Bengals Reddit, Bengals YouTube, Bengals.
Dude, I just was at again, because I'm addicted to the train wreck. I saw Bengals Reddit. Somebody made a post. Like, my dad made these predictions. Check them out for the whole league. Each team's record. He had the Bengals going 15-2. The Browns going.
And that was who? Who sent you that?
I don't know, some dude posted on Bengals Reddit.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, you're on Bengals Reddit. Well, I mean,
Browns 0-17. I'm serious. I was like, is this a troll? I know I said all the time, I can't get enough of
it. Did you not find it suspicious that Reddit username was Candy Truther? You're like, oh, he's probably really into Twizzlers or whatever. No, I just run out of Andy Ruther.
I can't, again, the fandom. I just can't get enough of the team fandom in the NFL. The older I get, just the more crazy it is to me. what's the saying? Delusions of grandeur.
Yeah.
It's just like, what planet are some of these fans living on? When you like, I'm the same guy. I'm now the same guy. I'm the same guy. I've said a lot of wild, dumb shit in the show. I'm the same guy. I'm trying to bring everything back to,
Well, we've talked about it forever, and NFL fans specifically. I mean, we're going all the way back to, you know, I mean, I would imagine if you go to the beginning of the show, we're like, Jesus. I mean, think about the fucking Lions Reddit. Think about, you know, fucking what's our Titans fans guy's name? Think about fucking
Alex from Kentucky.
Yeah, Alex from Kentucky. Think about all these fucking delusional people. I mean, even right now, and I know the Cowboys have been getting dunked on for, 30 years at this point, but like the difference between a borderline playoff team and the Super Bowl was George Pickens. That was what you were missing. You were missing a second receiver. That's it. See you there. Cowboys, Chiefs.
Well, again, it is. It's crazy to think that somebody like him is going to put them over the top. You know what's crazy about building teams in the NFL? It's normally the guy you don't even think. You're like, oh, that guy really solidified the offensive line, or that guy was just a big cog to stop the run on defense. It's like guys you just don't think that really could just have an impact is what normally happens. But again, if you look at other sports, I don't see it. Like, I don't see, if you asked a common fan of their team for baseball or for basketball, I feel like for the most part, you're going to be a homer, but you're going to be realistic. By the way, speaking of fans, I mean, you guys in New York, like, bro.
Here, dude, we hit the under. I'm glad we have the live ticker at the top. I set the over under at 10 minutes before Andy would let me talk Knicks advancing to the Eastern Conference Finals. I was like, somehow he's going to go over 10 minutes of NFL talk.
No, we're talking fans, and I'm just like, I mean, look, we've been quick to talk shit about a lot of fans.
Yeah.
Y'all acting like you won the title already.
But you don't understand. And like, I know people are going to be like, oh, Prano, you've done this about these fan bases. You've done this. It's like, this is not, first of all, this is a celebration of it's been so bad for so long. And it's not just been so bad for so long. We're not talking about the Detroit Lions fans acting like they won the Super Bowl because they get into the playoffs or whatever. It's like, you're the fucking Detroit Lions. This is the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks are, whether you like it or not, one of basketball's premier franchises, simply based on the fact that they're one of the original teams, that they're in New York, that they play at Madison Square Garden, the arena that every single guys who have been born after the last time the Knicks were in the Eastern Conference Finals still goes. Nothing like playing at MSG. It's not like we're talking about guys going, oh, what, like, you guys are acting like this is still a thing. It's not a thing anymore. Boom. Like, people know MSG is just a different place to play basketball. And, Knicks fans are good. Like, they're good supportive fans. The weird thing with Knicks fans, and, I've been one to criticize them, is it'll be, late April in the Carmelo Anthony years, and they have 17 wins. And really, we should want to lose every single fucking basketball game to get the first overall pick. And instead, in the fourth quarter, in a 2-possession game, it's defense. Like, this is a fan base that it's true torture. This is true torture. We're not talking about a team that's never done anything and has now finally found itself. Oh, they've been in the league this much. Like, this is one of the league's premier franchise. You know, you could say it's we dunk on the Cowboys all the time for 30 years, and you act like the Knicks fans are wildly different from Cowboys fans, you know? And yeah, I could not agree more that these people are overreacting to having gone to the Eastern Conference Finals, but it costs a lot of money. And it's like, we're not talking about a team, you know, we're not talking about, oh, and you bought bleacher seats to the fucking Cubs for the last 50 years at $11 a pop, and you finally get to see them win the World Series and break the curse of the Billy Goat. This is, you know what you have to invest to be a Knicks fan? The guys who are going to that game 12 times a year and then standing outside the Garden yelling "Bing Bong," they're literally working to do that. They're spending 70% of their net worth to fucking celebrate this. There absolutely is a overreaction, but at the same time, I think that there's some part of this fan base and this team that goes together. This team with the Villanova guys, and now with Mitchell Robinson healthy and doing all this dirty work. I mean, I don't know if you saw the highlight of the play, the huge play where he guarded every single one of the Celtics on the same possession, leading to a steal and a fucking 3-point play at the other end. It's like the team is feeding on the energy, and the energy is feeding on the team, and they're serving themselves. So it's like there's some part of me that's like, hey man, we don't need to pop champagne when you win the wild card round, right? But again, the Knicks aren't popping champagne. The fans are popping champagne. And I think that there's another part of me that's like, the energy that is around Madison Square Garden right now, and I mean literally around it, they shut down 7th Avenue. The energy that's around Madison Square Garden right now is feeding what's happening in Madison Square Garden right now. So I'm not saying that people aren't overreacting to making it to the conference finals, but you got to remember, I, as a kid, got to see the Knicks in multiple conference finals and in a finals and in another finals when I'm a teenager. This is, or, you know, early 20s. Timothée Chalamet, which, by the way, I'm now a Chalamet stan. I said the other day in the 40-point blowout, give him a fucking pair of sneakers and let him get 5 minutes like he's the fucking retarded kid on a high school basketball team. Let's just get him to have a hoister. I looked it up. Timothée Chalamet is 29 years old.
He's young.
He was 4 the last time the Knicks were in the Eastern Conference Finals. He does not have a conscious memory of the Knicks being in Eastern Conference Finals. It's sad because as a 45-year-old man, I also do not have a championship in my lifetime. But those fans he has nothing. He has nothing in his life. He has never had one moment of celebration, true celebration as a Knicks fan. Like, it was fun. I remember being at Rick's on Main Street in Santa Monica when Jeremy Lin went for 38 against the Lakers. But it's a regular season game. And it's a weird novelty Asian point guard situation. Then if you're talking about not overreacting or not underreacting or whatever, this is the culmination of the fact that this is truly the only thing that they've had to celebrate in 25 years. Making it to the Eastern Conference Finals is something to celebrate. Now, is it tear down the Empire State Building worthy celebration? No, that's an overreaction. But at the same time, there are fans who have never had a single moment. Can you imagine being almost 30 and not having celebrated 1 second of your team? And still spending the time and the money and investing and having to watch the fucking Isaiah Thomas years and the Eddie Curry years and the Carmelo Anthony years. And, you know, that's why I said I'm now a Chalamet stan. he put up a picture yesterday, or somebody put up a picture. I guess he was like 12 or something like that. There's the Amari Stoudemire one, but then there's the one where he like
I saw where he won.
He like went to
meet.
Yeah, he found Landry Fields at Grand Central Station.
I saw the Landry Fields one.
You're like, dude, can you like? I sometimes you ever watch like a Remember the Titans or something like that, and you think to yourself, if I was a white kid on a high school football team in the South in the fucking 60s, would I have been on the fucking? Would I have been an asshole? Would I have been like, it's the white boys team or whatever? Yeah. Sometimes I think if I was Chalamet, would I just be a fucking Nets fan, or would I just be a LeBron fan, or would I like do I have the like inner fortitude to have been a Knicks fan for 30 years without anything? When I was a kid, there was downtime, but like for the majority of my childhood, the Knicks were competing, and we had Patrick Ewing, and then you're taking this sort of younger generation that's had nothing. And listen, I think some of those people who defended Carmelo Anthony's tenure, those are the people that don't deserve it. But sticking with this team through all that, there's that generation who's never had anything to celebrate. Then there's my generation. We had a quarter century break since we were. And think about it this way. Like my teenage years, my like 10 to 20 era, the Knicks were so good that you were like, oh, every May you get this you sit down every 2 or 3 days, you have a fucking panic attack. I used to have a satin Knicks jacket, and my mom would be like, it's 75 degrees in the house. You're in a fucking full jacket. Like, what are you doing? Oh, we got to win this game. And then you take a quarter century break from that. Yeah, there's no doubt that there's like, if you look at this in a vacuum, celebrating the Eastern Conference Finals appearance like they just three-peated is an overreaction. But also, this isn't a vacuum. This Knicks, the Knicks have put their fan base through an emotional trauma that is hard to match across sports because they're expected to be good. They play at the Garden. We were held hostage by Dolan and Isaiah and fucking all these terrible. I mean, you can go through all the terrible draft picks and all the terrible executives and all the terrible players. And now we get this. And it looks like you have a real shot of going to the finals.
Well, they're the odds favorite. The betting favorite to make it to the fight. It's them and the Thunder are the two betting favorites.
Yeah. And listen, I'll tell you this. People have been like, you afraid of the Pacers? Like, yeah, I am. I am afraid of the Pacers. But, OKC's the best team left. It's not close.
Yeah.
I'm more afraid of the Pacers than I am of the Timberwolves. Not to look ahead to any sort of, finals matchups. But this Pacers team is feeling themselves right now in some sort of way where they cruise through a couple rounds. They're feeling good. They think they can beat anybody. And that's a dangerous team to play. But at the same time, the match that they're now faced with is the team that's like, we don't give a fuck who you are. We don't give a fuck who you are. It's not about you. It's about you got to come here. It's not about who do we have to play. It's you got to play us. And so it's going to be an interesting matchup. I have a feeling it's going to be a great series just because you could say that there's not a single reasonable thread other than the actual threads of the jersey that tie these two teams to the Pacers Knicks teams that have had a rivalry. None of these players, none of these coaches, nobody has anything to do with that series. It'll be every other fucking highlight. Reggie Miller will be on the fucking sideline.
When was it? That like 94?
Well, I mean, there was multiple 94, 95. Yeah. Which, by the way, I put it up yesterday. Like, I like what Reggie Miller does as a broadcaster for the most part. He's been a Jalen Brunson stan. He's kind of stan the Knicks the whole fucking playoffs too, in terms of saying like, oh, everybody kind of gave them Boston's going to run through them, and he was like, I don't know, you got the best fourth quarter player here, blah 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 blah. He's been pretty good about being, but then the other day, I don't know if you saw the post of him saying, why would I be afraid to go there? I've owned that city, and why would I be afraid to go there? I've owned that town. And I pulled it up. I think he was 7-27 in the regular season against the Knicks at Madison Square Garden, and he was like 6-9 against the Knicks in the postseason at Madison Square Garden. Reggie, we welcome you back, and we hope that your Pacers team owns us with the exact same owningness that you did. We welcome back to the Garden. We hope that the current Indiana Pacers mimic your Indiana Pacers in their inability to win at Madison Square Garden, unless literally there's a fluke, freak, once in a generation, 9 points in fucking 25 seconds.
So he's calling that.
Well, I'm sure he'll be involved in the broadcast. I mean, Wednesday on TNT.
Well, no, I thought TNT does the West.
Yeah. So he's been where? He's been on ESPN. I watch none of this on that channel.
No, he's TNT.
Right.
No, I'm wrong. ESPN has the East. Or no,
yeah,
ESPN
I
does
was
have the
going to
West.
say it's TNT on Wednesday. I knew that.
Sorry. Yeah, you're right.
Which, listen, we want Mike Breen. Obviously, we want all the bangs. We want our home announcer, who's also the national announcer. We want the bangs. But if you got to give me, if I love the Reggie Miller storyline, I also just think Reggie Miller might have early onset Alzheimer's, where he thinks that he performed well in the Garden or something like that.
Well, he had the big shots.
Yeah, he had that one game where shit really went fucking haywire.
He did. So what was the stat line again?
I believe in his career in the regular season in Madison Square Garden, he was 7-27. And I believe in the playoffs, he was 6-9.
I will say, and I know the whole era, they were not good in the 90s of jerseys. Those Pacers jerseys I thought those were pretty ugly.
Horrific. Yeah.
Horrific, right?
Yeah.
The
Pacers have just straight up really never had a good jersey.
Like when have the Pacers had a good jersey?
Like the best version of the Pacers jersey that we ever had. 7-27 regular season games, 6-9 in the postseason. The best Pacers jersey they had was the pinstriped Ron Artest Malice in the Palace jersey, but even those, they're pretty fucking bad.
Yeah, never had a crisp jersey.
And listen, navy and yellows, like I actually like that's a fine color scheme. It's just, I guess they don't have any. I guess if you're good at graphic design, you don't stick around Indianapolis for too long. Feels like you could outsource that to Chicago. It's not that far.
Poor Indy just takes strays from us. Poor Indy.
Well, listen, here's the, we talked about, which team you wouldn't want to be a courtside member of. The one good thing about this series and the final series for me is like, I would love to go to some of these. I would love to go to an Eastern Conference Finals game. I would obviously love to go to a finals game. I am not about to pay what I paid for a wedding to go see that game in New York City. The Knicks, the excitement, again, I saw a lot of playoff games in Madison Square Garden as a kid. they were there, so they were in it so much, the luster wore off a little bit to the point where it's like, I looked it up the other day because Jalen Brunson, I think it was in the last 20 plus years, 25 years, or 21 years, the Knicks had 3 playoff wins. And then since Jalen Brunson's been there, they have 21 playoff wins. And I was like, he's for sure climbing the leaderboard of like Knicks career playoff wins leader, as are, the guys who are playing with him, Josh Hart, etc. And so, of course, the top of the list is going to be those guys who played with Ewing, like Charles Oakley will have just as many as Ewing did or whatever. But I was like, how many did Ewing have? If Jalen Brunson is 21, how many playoff wins as a Knick do you think Patrick Ewing had?
If Brunson has 21, I don't know.
75.
Oh, wow. I was going to say something in the 40s.
75 Knicks playoff wins. My point is, as a kid, you could get a ticket to a Knicks playoff game. They're like, we'll have one next round to go to. We'll wait till the next round. We'll wait till next year. We'll wait till the Bulls series. We'll wait till the Pacers series. You can't get a Knicks playoff ticket right now. Knicks fans are at the point now where it's like, what if tomorrow we turn back into a pumpkin and we don't go to a fucking we don't win a playoff game again for another quarter of a century. So I've been looking at it, I'm like, this is like when people talk about, oh, Vail has taken over the ski industry. It's actually way cheaper to fly to Switzerland now to ski than just to go to Vail for 2 days. I'm like, bro, I'm pretty sure it's going to be significantly cheaper for me to fly to Oklahoma City for a finals game, or fly to Minnesota for a finals game, or fly to Indianapolis for an Eastern Conference finals game than it would ever be to go to first. I have to fly back to New York because I don't live there anymore. And then what? 40 grand?
But I mean, it depends where you want to sit.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not a fucking, it's 200 or below. Let's be honest. 200 or below. I'm sitting in the 300s. I may as well watch on TV.
Yeah. So predictions.
Also,
How's the series go?
To be serious, if anybody does have 300 level Knicks tickets they want to give me, I will take them. Or if any of our fans are in Oklahoma City or Minnesota or Indianapolis and have tickets to the game, I will find my way there. Where's my Indiana basketball fans that were defending this? Oh, Ruther and Prano fucking dickheads. Oh, throwing Indiana under the bus. All right. Invite me to your fucking Eastern Conference Finals. I'll come. Show me how cool Indiana is.
I'm bringing the fam. We're going this week, guys.
Does Indianapolis have an airport, or do I have to fly into like Kentucky, like with Cincy?
Wow.
Do I have to fly into Chicago and like drive across the border?
Double shots fired.
All the shots.
They have an airport. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking actually right now. Tickets are a lot cheaper, obviously, for the Indy.
What can you get in for?
This is just on ESPN, right? Again, I'm not like looking at the actual tickets.
ESPN uses Vivid Seats.
They have tickets as low. Let's see here on the schedule. Okay, let's see. Just pull it up. The first game is tickets as low as $199.
All right.
Even cheaper. OKC tickets as low as $116 tomorrow. I'm sorry. They're saying Knicks tickets as low as $518 for game 1. OKC's the lowest. Even Minnesota lower than Indy. That's interesting.
Where's our good friends at SeatGeek? I need some game 6. I'm gonna try to buy out. Let's look at, you were about to ask me my prediction. Knicks in 6.
Well, Joe's just been dissing the entire vicinity of where I live, guys. So I got to root for the Pacers now.
We knew you were going to root for the Pacers. we knew that. You're fucking. What's your boy on the Pacers?
Halliburton?
No, come on. The white boy. You've
Oh.
modeled yeah.
Connolly? What's his name?
Yeah. You've modeled your whole life after that fucking dude.
What's his name?
It's not Connolly. That's the guy from Entourage.
O'Connell? Mitch O'Connell? The guy who's a corpse in Congress? What's
TJ McConnell.
TJ McConnell?
Yeah. I'm trying to look up Knicks in game 6. Okay. Well, they're already at 348 to get in the building. Wow. That's the one people want to go to. Probably Knicks fans, honestly. You see, this is what I'm dealing with, Andy. I'm like, all right, what if I wanted to go to the clincher in Indianapolis? Knicks fans are like, we on that bing bong, 348. I'm in the door. Me and my brother driving our garbage truck. We ever hear about the time where we took a New York sanitation truck off grounds and we drove out to Indianapolis, fucking $75 a fucking gallon, fill this thing up, bing bong, and fucking sitting in the front row.
Well, I'm gonna pull up a YouTube comment. If you go to Indy, make sure to swing by Hoosier Girls and say hi to the one-armed girl Lydia. Oh, that was her name.
I love that fucking Stanga goes Lydia with the Y spell. Like, did you get to look at her ID?
You went through her LinkedIn. That's funny. So Knicks in 6 is Prano's prediction.
Knicks in 6.
I mean, this would have been a pretty big layoff for the Pacers. We all know layoffs can affect teams.
Yeah. And not, what do they get? 2 more days than the Knicks. Not a short layoff for the Knicks either. Obviously, we get to the point in the schedule where, had there been a game 7, it would have been tonight for the Knicks and Boston. There was obviously not a game 7 because the Knicks blew them the fuck out. We didn't even talk about the actual just manhandling of Boston. Did you watch the game, Andy?
I'll be honest. I put it on. It was a blowout, and I was like, okay, Knicks are going to win.
I love a good basketball game. I love a good sporting event. Like the best thing, probably my greatest sports experience in life are, the helmet catch Super Bowl, the Buckner World Series, like these things where you're like, we're dead, we're down, we're on the edge. But my God, the second best thing in sports is just absolutely butt fucking the team that everybody tells you is they're going to beat you without Tatum. They don't need him.
I was going to say, to be fair, were many people saying, I just like, once Tatum went down, I felt like, I was like, come on, Tatum's down. Like, how are they going to do this?
Yeah. But just an absolute manhandling. A manhandling. And they've hit a new gear. Mikal Bridges, like the mid-range fall away right now. I just think that this series, I'm going Knicks in 6 because it feels like, Tyrese Halliburton, props to him, makes that team go in a way that's reminiscent of a J Kidd back in the day, a poor man's Steve Nash, if you will. He's opening up passing lanes. He's keeping the ball moving. He's letting guys. They have a ton of depth. They have a ton of guys who run the floor. They have a ton of wing stuff. They have guys who finish, and Halliburton's the guy who makes it all go. I just think when you look at this Knicks team right now, especially from the wing type position, and Halliburton's not a wing, but he's a guard, and they'll figure it out. It's like they have Steve Irwin types on this team, and by that I mean guys who will grab the snake by the head and cut it off if necessary. They got 5 of them. I'm on Knicks in 6 because I just think Tibbs, if for all the fucking criticism you give about Tibbs, he is Mr. Defense. And I think they played this team last year. They played this team not healthy last year. It went 7. you know, if that team's healthy, I think they win that series. And the team's not only healthy but better in terms of the guys that they have to attack this Pacers team. Knicks in 6.
Will Halliburton's dad be there?
I'm sure he will. I hope Tyrese Halliburton's dad and Jalen Brunson's dad fight at midcourt.
Halftime show?
Rick Brunson, former NBA player, takes on, I don't know, Doug Halliburton, whoever the fuck that guy is, accountant from wherever the fuck Tyrese Halliburton's from.
He doesn't strike me as an accountant type.
I don't know what the fuck he is.
I did see the graphic they showed last time that I was laughing. I think it was Yahoo. It was like last time the Knicks made the conference finals, and there was a picture of Rick Brunson in his 9 jersey next to Jalen in his 11.
Yeah.
And I'm like, guys, really? We do this on purpose? The 9-11?
Yeah. Yeah. We should do the 11 and 9, right?
That's pretty funny. Okay. So you got Knicks in 6.
This is, by the way, going to be 9/11's revenge. Who is responsible for 9/11? The military-industrial complex. What's one of the biggest companies in the military-industrial complex? Halliburton. This is our revenge.
You think
Tyrese Halliburton, fucking the Halliburton Corporation, Boeing, fucking.
Are you going on record that 9/11 was an inside job?
9/11. Oh yeah. What do you mean? I've been on the
like 100%. Like you're 100% sure?
Well, by inside job, what do you mean? Bush did 9/11. Is that what you're suggesting?
I mean, there's a lot of factors. It could be. It could be. I'll just throw it out there. It could be Bush. It could be Cheney. It could be Israel. It could be. What are we saying? Just Tower 8 seemed like that was an implosion. Are the other things?
Are you? So this is how my issue with all conspiracy theorists ever. Hold on. I'll answer your question. My issue with all conspiracy theorists ever, they love to fucking say what happened with absolutely no evidence of what happened. I always said about JFK, Lee Harvey Oswald did not shoot JFK by himself.
Yeah.
Okay. 9/11 was not Osama bin Laden getting a bunch of guys and training them to fly planes and flying them into 2 buildings and those buildings coming down because those planes hit those buildings. Also, every plane we've ever had that was in a major crash in basically the world in the modern era, we rebuilt in fucking some hangar somewhere. But the one that the heroes took down over Pennsylvania just is scattered across rural Pennsylvania, just random. No video of that crash.
No video of Pentagon crash.
No video of the Pentagon crash.
It's crazy.
The most secure fucking building in all of the world. No, it was during the 14 seconds that the one camera we had pointed at the random fucking guard gate went dark.
So, no, by the way, I'm just throwing all that stuff out there because there's so many possibilities for 9/11.
Well, listen, the military-industrial complex it's
not one person.
Right. So did Cheney do no, Bush didn't do 9/11. Cheney didn't do 9/11. But all the shit that happened, obviously the whole thing was to fucking go to war. Obviously.
It's insane. It's so wild to me.
And now we're going to get our revenge to what Tyrese Halliburton and his family did to this country on that fateful day, 9/11/2001.
You want to hear something crazy?
You know what TJ McConnell's middle name is? Boeing. Coincidence? That's a coincidence to you? The Indiana Pacers did 9/11. If you want me to sum it down, if we had to put it, the Indiana Pacers did 9/11.
So I'm off the hook finally.
Yeah. Now listen, you are basically TJ McConnell. So
it's funny you bring up the Pennsylvania plane because I remember hearing when I was in school when all that happened, I was a sophomore right in college. my buddy's dad, he worked for American Airlines down in Arkansas. I think he was there, like, whatever the title would be, in charge of at that airport. He told so I'm not saying he had inside information, but it's kind of crazy. He told my good buddy, yo, man, that plane got shot down by a fighter jet.
I said it that morning.
I'm talking like way before even people. He's like, yeah, that's what my dad said.
Dude, I said it that morning. I'm like, oh, what we don't have. Where's the crash site? Where did it crash? Why did it get? Why would it hit the ground and then just scatter across the entire state of Indiana or Pennsylvania or whatever?
It's so much of that shit just does not add
So
up
obviously
at all.
that
Like,
one was
none of
shot
it adds
down.
up.
So obviously that one was shot down.
None of it adds up. It's so insane.
My instincts are all, like, I said it also, and it's so funny because that we talk about like the propaganda and the media and whatever, and I know the right loves to talk about don't believe anything the media tells you. Then they believe this. They all believe the same shit. We went to war because they believed the media for 9/11. Dude, I was in the car driving from Eugene, Oregon to Snoqualmie, Washington with Adam Carolla when Trump got shot. And I was like, bullshit. Bullshit.
You don't think Trump got shot?
Bullshit. It nicked his ear, and then he stood up, and the Secret Service let him stand up and do the fucking Mike Tyson's punch out. You won the fucking thing. Now you got to hit him in the belly where the fucking.
So I think he got shot.
Yeah, I don't. 27 years ago, Evander Holyfield had his ear bitten by Mike Tyson, and you can still see it. Trump got shot 8 weeks ago and is completely healed.
Well, to me, there's so much on that shooting in Pennsylvania, and I mean, there's so many unanswered questions about the guy. About you don't hear anything about it. Like there's and nobody. Here's what's crazy to me. What's the term? Memory hole. What's crazy to me is like to memory hole stuff that you're like, none of this adds up.
How about this not adding up? Donald Trump. Everything we know about Donald Trump. Donald J. Trump got shot in the ear, survived, never talks about it.
Well, he has. He did it at the Republican convention.
But we're talking about Donald.
He has.
Trump.
He's made comments.
We're talking about Donald.
So you think he would be making comments about it all the time?
You can't get me. The Democrats can't get me. The media can't get me. China's tariffs can't get me. They can't even get me with bullets. If an AR-15 can't get me, you think I'm afraid of China's tariff war? I'm not even afraid of a gun shooting me in the head. I'm going to stand up and hold my hands in the air just like I did when I got shot when China tariffs me. Go ahead and try it. I'm not afraid. No fucking way he got shot.
So I disagree on this one.
Okay.
I think he did. I think there's a lot of unanswered, bizarre. Like, there's so many questions on so many levels. I do think the Secret Service thing, the standing up, yeah, it's all bizarre. I think they're also
0.00% chance that he was struck by a bullet that day.
So then who's all in it is my counter.
Who's all in what?
Who's all in this elaborate plan that you fake get shot?
Him? The fucking.
What about the people who literally did get shot and died?
Oh yeah, those people got shot. That's what happens when you get hit with an AR-15 bullet. You die.
So you think those people are legit shot, and then he just wasn't?
Yeah.
And this is all staged.
Yeah.
There's a lot to break down here.
Shoot into a crowd, go down, nick your ear, do the WWE, nick your ear, come up, raise your fist. You remember what happened when Reagan got shot? We didn't see him for 14 days.
Well, I was too young, but yeah, I know.
He never got up. He got
They
covered.
jumped on him.
He got dragged. He got into a car. He was gone. Donald Trump got shot, and then he's YMCAing.
It's all crazy.
They can't get me.
But see, I would counter
young man.
my
tried to shoot me. I said, young man, there's no need to be down unless you're the guy I sacrificed for my PR stunt.
See, my counter would be the opposite, because everybody was so out to get him that how would they allow, like, it'd be the opposite. How would this be allowed, where everyone is countering the opposite of what you're saying, is that, like, the deep state, I'm not even talking more of like a left thing, the deep state wanted him dead because he's a threat to the deep state, because there's never been anybody like him, because he's a wild card, right? So that's kind of maybe the potential conspiracy, is that the deep state wants him dead.
Yes, the deep state, known for not killing the people they want to.
But, well, if they hired some, if they brainwashed like an MK Ultra sort of thing. But I guess my counter to you, and then we'll move on. I mean, again, I find it all very interesting. By the way, I for the record, on all this stuff, especially this, I might disagree with you as far as what I think, but I'm still very open to anything. Just for the record, like all this stuff is sketchy to me, and I do find it bizarre, no matter whether you're how you view it or how I view it or whatever, that, again, there's just nobody talks about it. Like, it's like nobody wants answers on this guy. I mean, I'm sure we both agree on that. Like, that's all bizarre. The shooter, there's nothing on him. That's insane to me. But I guess my question would be, like, how would that all be set up through a Trump, lack of a better term, I mean, it's like a PR thing. I don't know what you want to call it, like a stunt. Who's doing that is my question. From the Trump team, like, who's doing that?
Where would we get somebody with like a knowledge to like do like a WWE style, like fake blood?
You saying Vince McMahon?
No, that would be like, I mean, obviously it's not Vince McMahon. Like, Vince McMahon, it's not like Vince McMahon's family's in the cabinet. That'd be weird. Oh, fuck. Vince McMahon's family's in the cabinet, isn't he? Wow.
So your theory is that it's like WWE type.
That's interesting. Yeah, I think he cut his own ear when he went down.
Wild.
Do you know who else from the Trump administration participated in the WWE?
Trump.
Yeah. What are we talking about here? Remember when Evander Holyfield got bit 27 years ago and still has a fucking hole in his ear?
You should do a deep dive on this.
I have done a deep dive on this.
No, but I mean, like, this could be like interesting potential content.
Yeah. He just had a tampon in his ear for 3 days and then fine, no scar. Well, I mean, to be fair, he is Wolverine.
It's funny. Poor Ryan Klatt. As I was like, oh, we'll get to you. We got a light show today. Joe and I are hopping down conspiracy rabbit holes.
Well, listen, it's this all the more reason why the Knicks need to win the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm sick and tired of the Indiana Pacers and the other military-industrial complex using terrorism and threats of violence to keep people from celebrating. They say if you don't get out in the streets and shut down 7th Avenue and tear down the sign outside Sbarro yelling bing bong, the terrorists win. So this series is Knicks versus the terrorists.
All right, I think we got a title for this episode. Let's move, before we get to hockey, let's move to the Western Conference Finals.
Mm-hmm.
OKC whooped ass, Game 7.
Yeah. Oklahoma City, listen, what that series came down to, and what I think the majority of series that Oklahoma City is going to participate in this season, in upcoming seasons, is depth. Like, Denver had the best player, but OKC has so much firepower, and I'm not even talking about offensively, defensively, to be able to even curb Jokic in that game. I mean, they went to Caruso on him for a couple times, and it's not a matter of like I saw there's some shithead on Twitter who just like there's all these guys who hate the NBA. You know what I mean? All they do is they hate watching NBA. They watch every single second of every single NBA game so that they can do the clout chasing. The NBA sucks. This is why the NBA sucks. The NBA is soft. Blah, 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 blah. Don't ever compare Jokic to Hakeem or Shaq or whoever again. Caruso shut him down. Caruso shut him down for 5 possessions. You're throwing this is the equivalent of JJ Barea shut down LeBron James. No. The Dallas Mavericks built a team because they were like, if we ever make it to the finals, we'll have to play Miami, who have Wade and James. We're just going to sign every undervalued wing defender that we possibly can and just use them in a 9-man rotation. It's going to be Sean Marion and Deshaun Stevenson and Jason Terry and JJ Barea and all these guys. And we're just going to go throw guys at you. The idea that Caruso shut down Jokic is insane. The Oklahoma City Thunder didn't even shut down Jokic.
Well,
they just limited what he was able to do in getting the other guys involved.
Now, this is all the playoffs, but hold on a second. There we go. This is all the playoffs, but through yesterday.
Right.
Jokic was first, again, all players through yesterday's games. He's first in points, first in rebounds, first in assists, first in steals, first in
steal blocks,
first in double-doubles, first in triple-doubles, first in field goals. These are LeBron James numbers.
Yeah.
So,
but and listen, this is all I've ever said about LeBron James and his career. It's like casual basketball fans will love to say, didn't even get out of second round.
I know they will.
But he lost to the best team in the league in the second round.
Sure.
That's where the draw is. If he had played Oklahoma City in the third round, then he would have been in the third round. If he had played Oklahoma City in the finals, he might have lost to them in the finals. But Oklahoma City has such insane depth, mostly defensively, because obviously SGA does the lion's share of the scoring. They have great offensive players as well, but they have a pure scorer that's leading them offensively. And then they have insane defensive depth. Again, I was saying it. I mean, how early on in the season do you have to go back to me saying, I think the reason that the Oklahoma City Thunder win the championship and my Knicks don't is that they have Isaiah Hartenstein and we don't. And it's a guy like that where you go into this offseason prior to this year, and the Knicks went on a great run last year and had health issues. But one of the guys that stepped up incredibly was Hartenstein. And you go, how can the Thunder, who are better than us and deeper than us, afford him, but we can't? And that's because they have been incredibly savvy in trading all these, obviously the Paul George move.
Yeah.
The Paul George for SGA and a shit ton of picks move is the greatest. It's the greatest swindle in fucking league history. And they've done such a good job building a young team. They still have a shit ton of picks. They still have guys on rookie deals. It's just insane what they've been able to do. And because of that, they're deep. You look at the 2 series that are about to happen. It truly is that, like, the Knicks have 5 guys essentially that they're going to run into the ground, and then they have Deuce McBride, who's going to come in and give you fucking spot minutes, and they have Mitchell Robinson, who's going to come in and obviously be that defensive player. And, we'll see if Indiana does the hack-a-Mitch thing or whatever. But Tibbs runs 40. Mikal Bridges is going to play a 45-minute game in this series. And Indiana is going to throw a ton of different guys at you and just try to keep – they're going to have 7 different –
fresh legs.
they're going to have 7 different 3-man backcourt rotations. And that's the same thing that's going to go on in the West. OKC just has so much depth, and Minnesota way more top heavy. In both series, the Timberwolves and the Knicks, with the lack of depth, have the best player in the series. They have the best player in the series. Now, some people be like, SGA is better. SGA is a fucking SGA is a scorer. Anthony Edwards is the best player in that series. Oklahoma City, I think from a defensive depth standpoint, is what makes them scarier to me than, Indianapolis, who also is a pretty good defensive team, but doesn't scare me in their ability to do all these different things defensively.
I want to say something else. As we're talking about Jokic, I see a comment, and this is what I don't get. Like we're trying to minimize. I was talking about Jokic's stats. That's totals, and he's played more games than anyone else besides his teammates. That's true. But let me just pull up another one. Guys, this is the whole season. Like, why are we trying to minimize what Jokic does? This whole season, he averaged 30, 13, and 10. Most points ever in a triple. These are just some fun stats. Most points ever in a triple-double. Most triple-doubles by a center. First non-point guard ever to average a triple-double. Top 3 in points per game, rebounds, assists, steals. What are we talking about? Like, are we really trying to minimize that he played more games? Come on.
Well, it's just also, Jokic is the best player in the world.
Yeah, like it's not even close. It's not even close.
It's not close.
It's not close.
Also, the talent deficiency.
Put Jokic on the Thunder. See what happens.
This has always been my thing with LeBron James. And this has been my thing. It's like, bro, I watch a lot of NBA. That series never should have gone 7.
Yeah.
It never should have gone 7. And listen, there was a couple weeks ago where a Denver fan said, "What do I think about what Russell Westbrook has been? His series against the Clippers. Look at this he's a big part of why we're here." I don't remember if that was Dylan Cahoon. I don't remember who that was. It was a Denver fan. I remember that. What did I say? You live by the Russ, you die by the Russ.
Yeah.
Russ was bad in this series. He was okay to start this series. He was bad a third of the way through this series on.
Well, I just, and you see it again. It's idiots on Twitter, and it's like saying, okay, well, Jokic, I don't know if you saw this. Everybody's like, he's never beat a 50-win team in the playoffs.
Okay.
And I'm just like, but to go back to your point, which I agree, it's like, wait, so we're holding against him a series that should have not gone to 7?
But again, we're now talking about
thing.
We're now talking about. All right, I'm going to take you from you get into playoff rotations, and again, we just talked about this is why OKC will likely win the championship, and why Indiana is scary is depth. You go to a lot of fucking NBA series. 7 guys are playing. 8 guys are playing if you're counting like 11-minute stints.
Yeah.
If you go to the majority of LeBron James teams and you start at the 7th man,
short
and
rotation,
you start counting up, and you just say a guy's name, you're talking about, remember that first LeBron James team?
bro.
Dude, you're talking about Anderson Varejao was like the 3rd guy? The 3rd guy on a team that made it to the finals? The 3rd guy It was like LeBron, Mo Williams, Anderson Varejao, the ghost of fucking Zadrunas.
He didn't even make it with Mo Williams. He even make it with Mo Williams. I think it was like Eric Snow.
Yeah. Okay. Like, it's insane. And you can do the same thing for Jokic. Like, we're talking about Christian Brown?
It's like literally Jamal Murray, Gordon.
Gordon's your third best player.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
And he's fine.
He's fine. He's your third best player in on a championship team?
It's pretty crazy. Yeah. All right, let's bring in Ryan Clapp. We gotta get some NHL playoffs update. We'll bring him on. I was rooting for the lead. They started 2-0 Toronto, and you're like, oh, the reverse curse come in play. Goes game 7 and just an ass whooping. Let's bring out Ryan. Ryan Clatter.
Hello, Andy. Hello, Joseph.
Hello, Ryan.
How we holding up?
Ryan looks like Michael J. Fox's brother in Back to the Future. Like he's disappearing on us.
Yeah, my man's pixelated.
I need to schedule to like go to the Winnipeg airport every time.
Max Headroom over here.
I need to just tell my wife I'm off to Winnipeg. I got a podcast to film for 20 minutes.
Where are you
that
at?
lighting was exceptional.
Are you in a hotel?
No, I'm in my bedroom. It's
you're home.
I'm home. Yeah. But anyways, how I'm doing? Not great, Bob. Not great. It's a Madman reference for those of you at home. Just a fucking. I'm kind of at a loss for words. It was just another massive letdown, and
well, like let's go through because obviously we checked in with you before the series started. You predicted Florida. What you thought the Panthers would win, but obviously the Leafs did what it feels like the Leafs do to you guys, which is got your hopes up.
Yeah, every year.
Listen. There, when I saw how that series was going, and the Knicks were simultaneously up 2-0 on the Boston Celtics, I was like, there. And multiple people have said, you guys are kind of the Leafs of the NBA. Toronto is to hockey what, New York is to basketball a little bit. And I was like, don't do this to me. So trust me, I understand what you were going through the entire series, but for it to come down, I imagine, obviously Denver in the NBA has a championship in recent history and they have the best player in the world and whatever, but them getting into a game 7 and then getting absolutely fucking smacked. That's worse than just getting swept.
I mean, it kind of is, yeah. And like you said, 2-0 series lead. The things were finally going their way. I knew Florida would storm back. I knew it wasn't going to be easy, but they were up 3-1 in game 3 too. They were up 2-0 and 3-1 in game 3, and Florida storms back, and they get stomped at home in game 5, 6-1. Stomped at home in game 7, 6-1. The only positive that I think I can take away from this, and this is kind of sad, but getting your shit pushed in that much, it was so absolute, so just like final that it's like, okay, now we got to shake up the core now, because so often they lose these very, very close game 7s. It's like, oh, we're just right there. If the odd bounce goes our way, let's just run it back with the same guys, maybe tweak it a little, and they're gonna have a run one of these times. And this year they win their division. They get an easier matchup in the first round. We move past Ottawa, but at the end of the day, they're still not there. They're still not able to compete with the top dogs in the league. And I think there's going to be big changes coming. It'll be an interesting offseason.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but like you guys have lost in the first round a lot recently, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Is this is there any sort of like, well, at least we didn't lose in the first, like we're there's some sort of building, you don't just.
I mean, they've had 9 years to build. Like it's
I know.
It's-
I'm trying to find out the state of Leafs fandom without going to check out Leafs Reddit.
yeah, like I know what you're saying, but this team, we were finally at the point where it's like, okay, championship or bust. Like this team is good enough to win. And, you know, actually Matthew Tkachuk mentioned this on a podcast, I think today that he was on. He was like, this team would be unbelievable if they weren't in the fucking media circus of Toronto, which again, kind of like your Knicks, right? Then the Knicks have had their failures and their media circus and a lot of scrutiny. And there is no team in hockey that faces more scrutiny than the Leafs. You know, Montreal's up there, Vancouver's up there, but it's mayhem in Toronto, and the pressure that these players feel, not just from being the media hotbed, but just this long drought too. I mean, it's been 1967 was the last year they won a Stanley Cup.
So
6
like
teams in the league still. They haven't won a cup since the league expanded.
that's
I mean,
insane.
Pathetic. It's pathetic.
So like your head going into game 7, you're like, this isn't gonna end well.
Well, you kept hearing it all year, and even this playoffs, everyone kept saying this Leafs team is different. There's something feels different about them, and
Wrong.
even for, yeah, nope. Even for me, I didn't feel like as nervous going into every game. I was like, man, I think like they got this new coach who won a cup with St. Louis, and he's got them prepared and ready to go. They're harder to play against, and Brad Marchand and Tkachuk on the Panthers have said like this team is different. They were much harder to play against than years past, but at the end of the day, they were. I think this core of Leafs players are 0-5 in Game 7s going into last night, and now 0-6. And,
well, you know, we've done
yeah.
a lot of basketball. You know, we're obviously talking a lot of NBA before you got here. We're doing a lot of, you know, kind of comparing it back. One thing that really upset me until the absolute just fucking ass kicking that the Knicks put on the Celtics in Game 6, until that game, it really felt like no one was giving the Knicks any credit. It was all this Boston choked, whatever. So from the, you know, opposing viewpoint, how much of this is simply that the Panthers are a wagon, the Panthers are hovering around the finals and winning championships and are all there for, I'm a casual hockey fan. Florida's in the mix just about every fucking year. How much of this is just like, hey, had you avoided maybe a Florida team, or you're not as good as these 3 teams in the league, but you could just as easily have been in the Eastern Conference Finals with a different draw, whatever. How much of this is just you ran into a buzzsaw?
I think 95% of it is what you just said. Florida they're a fucking wagon. There it is. They're a buzzsaw. Yeah. You know, they've been in the finals last 2 years.
Is there any relief in like, we played Florida to 7, not we lost in 7 to the Islanders, or we lost in 7 to the fucking whoever, but you lost in 7 to Florida?
Yeah, I mean, I try to convince myself that like every year, like this happens to the Leafs year after year because of this playoff format. They're in a very tough division. We lose to Boston the first round. Boston like goes to the finals. We lose to Tampa in the first round. Tampa goes to the finals or wins a cup. We lose to Florida. They go to the finals. You know, it's like it's every year we lose to great teams, but this Leafs team on paper, they should be there, and they just aren't. Their star players, just when the going gets tough, they don't rise to the occasion. And the guys on Florida, they just do. They're built different.
Now let's just talk specifically about the Game 7 loss. I haven't seen a highlight or watched it. This is why you're here. I have no knowledge of anything other than the score was 6-1. What was the story of this game? Why was it 6-1? Is this goalkeeping? Is this?
Well, so I'll tell you like what my day was like yesterday. So I actually didn't watch the game live. I was driving a train from Wainwright to Saskatoon. I watched the first period in Wainwright, and like the way things lined
And
up,
now
I was like, fuck,
you can't like live stream a game, because then if a train goes off a track, you're in jail for life for watching the fucking Leafs game. Although that would be a great fucking Canadian. That would be the best Canadian story ever. A train derails. Engineer was watching Leafs choke away games
while taking out a few foamers.
Yeah. Train derails, takes out 3 foamers following 6-1 Game 7 loss.
Yeah, the cameras caught him saying, "Nice back check, you fucking loser!" right before they crashed.
Would have been great for our ratings. So just think about us next time, Ryan.
yeah. We got cameras in the trains. They watch everything we do. If you pick your nose, they're gonna see it. So, but yeah. Anyways, so I had the game recording at home. So I came in the first period, like it started bad for the Leafs. I think I saw Florida had the first 25 shot attempts. I think only like 9 of them went on net, but it was like a senior team playing a peewee team at the start. But they weathered the storm, and Toronto's goalie stood tall. And then the second half of the first period, things started to go the Leafs' way, and then they were getting some momentum. So it ended 0-0. So that's where, when I got home, I got home at like 4 a.m. I turned on the game, and I start from the second period. And then it's like, Florida's still mostly controlling the play, but it's not too bad. Then it's 1-0.
Let me ask you something. Were you able to not know what happened all the way up? Like, did you watch the game not knowing the outcome?
Correct. I turned my phone off. I just came in blind in the middle of the night. You just fuck it. It's hard to do, but
it's impossible to do. I've never even attempted it. I think that the people who do it are insane. It totally checks out for you. Like I've never understood. Like, so how long after the game had been over did you start watching it?
Well, it was probably, so I'm talking my time. It was probably over around 9 p.m.
And you watched it at 4 a.m.
4 a.m.
That's not possible outside of Canada to avoid that kind of information.
Well, I mean, yeah, my phone is off. My phone is off. I just drove home, turned on, and when I turned on my TV,
you have a wife and kids, dude.
I know.
You come home, they've been eaten by a bear. You're like, fuck. So
actually, my wife's in Toronto right now. She's visiting a friend in Toronto, and my mom was home watching my kids. So, anyways, yeah. So then I turned on the second period. That's 1-0.
Hold on. We got to talk about this more. So you tell your wife, you're like, babe, mom's at home with the kids. Just FYI, my phone's going to be off because I can't know the fucking Leafs score.
Okay, well, actually, my phone's supposed to be off for work, but also for the Leafs thing. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just left it off. I just fucking left it off, and it's like, so if there was an emergency, I mean, they can
get
be like, sorry.
Can they get you in an emergency? Now I'm just foaming. In an emergency, can you be contacted via the train?
Yes, they have to call the dispatcher. There's an emergency line where a family member can call, and then they get a hold of like the rail traffic controller, and then they will get you off the train.
Got it. Okay.
I've never had to use it, but it has worked for other people. Anyways, we're getting off the rails here.
Yeah. Next year when the Leafs make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, I'm using the emergency line to call you on the train and tell you that it happened. Like, spoiler, you did it.
Yeah. Oh, fuck.
Okay, so you get home at 4, you turn on the second period, 0-0.
Yeah, and then it's like 1-0, 2-0, 3-0. I'm like, oh my god. Then the third period, the Leafs score early to make it 3-1. I'm like, okay, we got some life. Florida immediately answers 4-1, 5-1, and then an empty netter 6-1. It was just like, I don't think the score wasn't indicative of how uneven the play was. Like Florida
it was more uneven than 6-1.
No, it was less uneven. Okay, like Florida definitely was the better team, but I don't think the Leafs played bad enough to warrant a 6-1 loss. It was just Florida was just, everything was going in after the first period. So it's shitty, but hopefully, they shake up the core. Maybe that's what they need. But I mean, I've said before, I just have no belief that this iteration of the team can win a cup. It was, they're fun to watch in the regular season, but that's
What's the
that's all there is.
I'm going to ask you one more Leafs question, and then we'll get an update on what else is going on in the playoffs. What would be what would you say if you had to make a singular move or the very first move? What do you need to address this offseason?
Mitch Marner is in the last year of his contract this year. See you later. He's gone. It sucks to lose him for nothing, and they actually tried to trade him at the trade deadline, but he has a no-move clause, so he said no. He's gone. He's going to make a ton of money somewhere else, but he's a guy who he produces a ton in the regular season, and if you look at his playoff points, they're actually not bad, but he's not a playoff player. He wilts when the time and space is taken away from him 5-on-5. He doesn't get into the corners. He doesn't win puck battles. And those are guys you win with in the playoffs, the guys who win puck battles. And he's just not one of those guys. So him gone, that's the first thing. And other than that, I don't know. It's a big jigsaw puzzle.
It's very fresh for you. We'll give you
it
some
is.
time.
Yeah.
What else has gone in? So Florida is on to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
And they'll face
the Carolina Hurricanes.
Okay.
And
this southeast part of the fucking United States, they love their hockey, and they're fucking between Carolina and Tampa and Florida. You got a lot of wins coming out of that.
Yeah, I'll give a quick prediction right now though for this one. I think Florida sweeps them. Carolina's lost their last 12. I think they're 0-12 in their last 12 games in the Eastern Conference Final, which is pretty crazy. And one of them a couple of years ago was against Florida. They just got manhandled. I think it's going to be the same. I have no doubt that Florida is going to move past Carolina and probably have an easy time. That's really, I don't have much to say about Carolina. They played a super boring series.
Who did Carolina beat to make it there?
Washington. Brutal, dreadful series. Just you watch that game and then you watch the Oilers game. It was like you were watching two different sports.
Yeah.
It was just, I know I'm supposed to be a hockey ambassador, but that series was boring. It was brutal.
So there'll be some relief as you guys get into the offseason that perhaps you were the second best team in the East.
Sure.
And now what's going on in the West?
Now in the West, the Edmonton Oilers, of course, they're moving on. They
beat
took care
Vegas.
Vegas in 5 games, and the series was good, but I was shocked at how easily Edmonton took care of business. They're rolling. They're feeling it right now. And again, I'll say going into the series against Dallas, I'll say the same thing about Edmonton that I said last series against Vegas. My brain is telling me that Dallas will beat Edmonton. That Dallas has a better roster than Edmonton, top to bottom. But my gut is telling me that Edmonton's moving on again, and they're going to go back to the Stanley Cup final. Because Connor McDavid winning a cup is, in my opinion, it's inevitable. And I'm not saying it's going to be this year, but I think it's inevitable. So, and they're just rolling right now. Stuart Skinner, back-to-back shutouts. He was brutal to start the playoffs. He lost his job. Another guy comes in, wins a few games for them, and then he gets injured. So they had to put Skinner back in, and then he's back to his old ways, stealing games. So, and they're getting depth scoring, which they've never really had before. So this Oilers team has all come together at the right time, and they're looking good. But they'll have their work cut out for them against Dallas. I expect this one to go 7.
Now, does your allegiance in the playoffs after your team is out? Does you now have one Canadian team left? Does it shift? Is that how it shifts for you, or do you think the majority of fans are just like, well, it's a Connor McDavid, he's the best player, we want it? Is there who are you rooting for? You rooting for Edmonton?
Edmonton all the way, and it's both of what you said. It's Canadian team, and obviously I'm a big Connor McDavid fan. So I would love to see him win a cup. I just think that the great players of a game deserve their championships.
We have a question for you here in YouTube. From Davis. Why don't heavy underdogs just throw game one and spend the whole time fighting the other team's best players? Interesting strategy.
Yeah. They're bold strategy, Cotton. Let's just fight everyone.
Yeah,
I mean, listen, there's
how's
like,
that play out?
listen, again, NBA reference here, but like, look at JoJo English's playoff minutes before he came in and punched Derek Harper in the face. This is not a conspiracy theory. Phil Jackson was like, hey, you don't play for us. That's their point guard who is a good defensive player and gives us problems. Why don't you go punch that dude in the face?
Yeah.
Tackle him into David Stern. You're both going to get suspended, and we don't give a fuck if you get suspended. So
Yeah,
in hockey, where fighting's that much more. When two guys fight, like if hands are thrown, is it automatic that both guys are going to the box?
Yeah.
There's no like, yo, he just started fucking throwing hands at me. I defended myself. Now I'm fucking in the penalty box too.
Well, if one guy doesn't drop his gloves,
right,
then he's not getting.
But then also he's a bitch, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Unless you get like fucking.
I don't hate this. I don't hate this strategy.
I mean, maybe the Leafs should try it. I mean, they've got nothing else to lose. But real quick, I need to touch on the Dallas-Winnipeg series. So Dallas beat Winnipeg in 6 games, obviously. But something kind of like soul-crushing, kind of heartwarming, and soul-crushing again happened. So Mark Scheifele, he's Winnipeg's best player. His dad died the night before Game 6. I don't know if you guys saw this.
No.
Okay. So yeah, his dad died before Game 6. So
I don't even know where I would see such a thing. Did they show that on ESPN?
Oh God, no, not on ESPN. TSN. It was all they could talk about. But yeah, so Mark Scheifele, his dad dies the night before Game 6, and he was kind of doubtful to play, obviously, but he wound up playing. He suited up, and he scores Winnipeg's first goal. So it was like, man, what a story! Hey, but Dallas ties it, and then Scheifele gets a penalty as time is expiring in the third period. So Dallas has a power play going into overtime.
Wow.
And they score on the power play with Scheifele sitting in the box. So it was a tough scene, but at the same time, it really brought the team together, and everyone was very supportive of him. And in the handshake line after, like, all the Dallas players were like hugging him, and I'm sure sharing some nice words with him. And so that was tough to see, but I think his dad would have been proud of him for playing and obviously scoring a goal. So kudos to him. But man, fucking brutal. Yeah, your dad dies, and then you get a penalty, and you're in the box, and your team scores in overtime.
Your dad's voice. What the fuck were you doing?
He's like Ben Kenobi.
Yeah.
Force Ghost in the stands. Like, what are you doing?
Love that reference.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know you've got my brain. This question got my brain spinning. I just want to go back to this fighting thing really quickly.
I knew you'd love this.
But now I have an interest just in fighting in general. Like the best players on, like the Connor McDavids, they're not getting into a lot of fights.
No, I don't think. I wonder if McDavid's been in a fight in the NHL. He got in a fight, I remember, at junior when he was playing for the Erie Otters.
But how do these great players? What is the like?
Real sorry, let me cop in here real quick. I gotta take a leak.
Okay.
You guys just continue. Just FYI, I'm not leaving the show.
Yeah. How does one avoid, like, what is the, what's the strategy for like avoiding ever being in a fight? Why don't guys just go, hey, McDavid, like opening fucking, face off the game. Hey, motherfucker, I'm going to punch you in the face.
Well, yeah, you just,
is there like
drop the gloves?
Is there like a gentleman's agreement that you don't do it with those guys, or?
There is kind of an understanding of like who is a fighter, who's not a fighter. And yeah, the goons aren't going to ask McDavid to fight. That just, to answer your question, I don't really know what would happen. Like if a fucking goon just came up and asked McDavid, like, well, fuck, we're going.
Or what if, or I mean,
someone
like,
would come in.
Yeah, again, there's this thing of like, it's a net win for any team if McDavid goes to the box, right? Like there's
Correct.
no one on the other team that you could take off the ice that would help them as much as getting McDavid off the ice for the other team. So why isn't even a non-goon? Why isn't it just some other fucking dipshit? Why don't they have the worst fight? Why don't they have a fucking slap fight? It was like, hey, we're gonna slap fight, bitch,
Yeah.
but we're
Just
both going to
take
the
one
box.
for the team.
Yeah.
No, it just, I think McDavid's too smart. The really good players are just too smart to get involved in that stuff, right?
Got it.
They know their value to the team, and so they're not going to be, they're not going to get involved in that. I remember the 2011 Cup Finals between the Bruins and the Canucks. The Bruins were just like bullying the Canucks, the Sedin twins, and I just remember there's this one part where the Sedin was just, he was getting punched in the face. He was just taking it. He was just like trying to look the other way, and the guy's just like punching him in the face.
That's amazing. Why during this whole thing about the fights, why am I picturing Draymond Green on skates? Why am I picturing just some NHL team hiring Draymond Green, which is probably the mental image of him on ice skates, just to be that guy? Like, okay, you're going to go after the best player on this team and you're going to fight him.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I picture, is just like sending out a Draymond Green type of guy and just
to fuck shit up, eh?
Yeah, just to wreck the whole series.
Yeah.
So did you make? What's your prediction? Have we gotten to that? Like, what's your prediction to make the?
Okay. So I think it's
Florida and Edmonton.
I think it's going to be a rematch of last year, Florida Edmonton. But having said that, Dallas is very, very good, and I would not be surprised at all if Dallas beats out Edmonton. I would be surprised if Carolina beats Florida. I'd be very surprised.
But you said sweep. You said sweep for Florida.
They're going to get swept. Or 5. It's going to be 4 or 5 games for Florida. I'm pretty confident in saying that. If Carolina wins the series, I will be surprised. But Dallas very well could beat Edmonton. They are fucking, like, Mikko Rantanen. I mentioned him couple months ago. Thanks. He is the guy who like got traded from Colorado. He went to Carolina. They couldn't figure out a contract. They get straight to Dallas. He's been fucking on. He had a hat trick in Game 7 against Colorado in the first round, and he's been just a horse. Their guys are getting healthy again. They had a bunch of injuries. I think that's why I picked Colorado to beat them in the first round, because they had injuries, but they've been able to overcome them, and now they're healthy. And yeah, they're scary. But
you were talking about the guy on Winnipeg who comes back and does it after his father dies, and this Migos guy, after losing one of the members of his rap group, he's out there doing it. So that's exciting.
This reference is flying over my head. I feel like Joe Chabelli right now.
It's just a Migos Miko reference.
Even better. That's hilarious. Well, Ryan, appreciate you making time. And as you talked, your screen got better. So I don't know.
Yeah. I think maybe I don't know. It's a pretty gloomy day here today.
It's the natural light will fuck up these cams.
Yeah. And if I get to leave you guys with one thing, it's so I saw this on Instagram today. It's a reel. I was like, the scene in Interstellar where he's like
pounding on the glass.
He's pounding on the grass. Yeah. No. And he's crying. The caption was me screaming at my 6-year-old self to not be a Leafs fan. That's how I feel. Just pick another team. My favorite player as a kid was Joe Sakic. Like, just pick the Avalanche, man. You'd be a lot happier. But
let me give you one glimmer of hope. Okay, if they ever even get to the Eastern Conference Finals, it'll be the greatest feeling of your life. Like you'll just be tearing down whatever the Canadian equivalent of Sabaro is, which I think is just Sabaro, and screaming bing bong. It's great. Like the Knicks are the Maple Leafs of the NBA. And one day, maybe it's not Austin Matthews, but you'll get your Jalen Brunson. And maybe have you thought about just signing whoever Austin Matthews played college hockey with? That could be a strategy.
Maybe, yeah. He played in Switzerland right before he got drafted, so maybe that. Yeah. That's a good point, Joe. If it ever does happen, it'll feel great. It was like Rory at the Masters. I mean, that was fucking. I cried
with his illegal driver. And we're gonna take.
I know you're not a Rory guy. We don't have to get into too much, but I cried when he won the Masters, or like the Cubs winning in 2016. I mean, that was so cool to see. So, hopefully that day will come. But
or like me when my daughter finally uses the toilet. Please, just do it.
Yeah. Is that going on right now?
We're trying.
Yeah.
We think she lied. We think she lied yesterday about the the prop toilet. We think she lied. There was some like, did you tinkle in this? Like, is she smart enough to spray some water bottle? Who knows?
If she's smart enough to spray some water bottle, she's smart enough to piss in it. What are we talking about here?
Yeah, I know. Throw that in with the conspiracies we're talking about today. I'm going to throw that one on the list to examine. Well, look, Joe is right. Look, when the day comes, and I don't want to put the Ruther stink on it, but I am. Like, I assume you're going to make an Eastern Conference Finals in your life, at the very least.
Hopefully, yeah. 2002 was the last time.
But, so yeah. Well, Ryan, it's always a pleasure. We'll have to bring you back to go over the Stanley Cup Final when that hits. Yeah.
Next one will be the Cup Final preview. It's flying by already. So, yeah.
Ryan, always great to have you on. I have a couple friends who have tuned into the show recently and been shouting out how great you are, hockey fans, and they're like, we love the hockey correspondent. Also, I'll let you know, in the next week and a half, 2 weeks, if the emergency line rings on the train and it's just an unhinged man screaming bing bong, the Knicks have made the NBA Finals. That was me. That was me that was calling you.
Okay. Great. I'll bring the train to a screeching halt if I hear that.
Just give me the
couple toots.
Give me.
Yeah. We lost Joe.
Oh, we lost Joe.
We lost him on toots.
Oh, he's back.
I'm lost.
There he is. You were.
You froze when you were tooting the horn there. But
well, Ryan, thanks for coming on, and like I said, we'll bring you back here soon.
Yeah. Hopefully, a couple weeks it'll work again.
All right, sounds good, man. Take care.
Hey, buddy. We've had some great hockey correspondents through the years, but Ryan's my favorite.
I mean, it doesn't even come close. Let's be honest.
It doesn't. I mean, Jacob Faith had some high highs,
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
What's your hard line here?
Oh, I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, I got the car around. I got about an hour before I got to hit the road here. So
so I'd like to cover this Brock Purdy thing real quick before we get out of here.
Yeah, big contract Brock.
Well, you and I, like, it was one of the things we I feel like we both kind of agreed. We're like, the 49ers, or
I think we both kind of agreed. Someone is going to be the team that is the first one to fucking, not blink in one of these negotiations and just be like, okay. There was part of me that thought that team was going to be the Niners.
I did too.
I'm shocked that they didn't. Listen, here's the thing about Brock Purdy. I like Brock Purdy. What a story, man. What a story to go from Mr. Irrelevant to this contract.
It's an amazing story.
I'm not like, I don't root against Brock Purdy. I don't root against the Niners. I famously, have talked about it. I grew up like 1A, 1B Giants Niners fan. That's how much I loved the Niners as a kid, with the Joe Montana Notre Dame connection, and just Montana to Rice, and how great they were. And just knowing that, if the Giants get deep enough, they're going to face this team. Like that was the equivalent of me growing up a Michael Jordan fan or whatever. I like the Niners. I generally, there's not a ton of teams that if the Niners play them in the playoffs, that I'm not rooting for the Niners. It is for that reason that I hate this deal. Like, I'm not rooting against the Niners or rooting against Brock Purdy. I just don't think – I think we've gotten to a point now where everybody agrees the quarterback is the most important position, and everybody agrees that the quarterback deserves, upwards of 25 or 30% of your entire cap. But in my opinion, not Brock Purdy.
Well, it's to put it in like a practical sense of kind of what's going on across the country in the economy. It's like the housing market is so insane. It's never been like this. And the numbers back it up, right? It's the same thing as the quarterbacks. It's like the median house has never been more expensive. Just the buying the whatever you call it, the practical house is insane. Like at some point, and I've said it forever. I'm like, at some point,
Something's got to give.
We saw this in 2008, right? With the bubble and the whole recession. It's like, and it's the same with the quarterbacks. Like at some point, some of these people are just going to go, fuck you. I'm not paying for this house. I'm not paying $500,000 for this house in the Midwest. That's nothing special. And I thought they were going to do that with him too. Here's my thing with Brock. I think Brock's a nice quarterback. I'm not anti-Brock. I'm like you. I'm just like you. I think it's a great story, Mr. Irrelevant, to $181 million guaranteed, because I know everybody wants to. But
what's weird too is the thing that, like, I'm not saying Brock Purdy was exposed this season, but the concern with why, the concern with pun intended or not intended, Brock Purdy being fool's gold is, Brock Purdy's looked really, really fucking good with this team that is like so weapon heavy and has a great defense and blah, blah, blah. And it's like Jimmy Garoppolo got paid from you guys too. And listen, Brock Purdy's way better than Jimmy Garoppolo.
Sure.
But Jimmy Garoppolo, from the time he signed an extension or whatever with the Niners to the same amount of years that how big this Brock Purdy deal is, 5 years.
It's 5 years, 265. But again, I care more about the guarantee.
Jimmy Garoppolo is out of football.
181 guarantee. Is Jimmy Garoppolo really out of football?
Like, where is Jimmy Garoppolo?
Wasn't he back up on the Rams?
I don't know.
I thought he was in the Rams. He is, yeah.
Is he back up on the Rams?
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, I agree. Brock's way better.
But also, the shocking thing for me was, what if Brock Purdy has to do it? And then he did this year, and they didn't make the playoffs.
You without all his guys.
Yeah. And
so that's been my thing all along.
But now, Andy, what, like, you could say, yeah, well, but he didn't have all his guys. Well, now,
how are they going to pay for all his guys? Yeah,
exactly. You can't have all those guys. You can't pay a quarterback $181 million guaranteed and pay a tight end and 3 receivers and a running back.
My thing is,
and have a good left tackle and a good defense.
Look, they have a good system in San Francisco. They have a good system that's led to their very overwhelming, not a Super Bowl, but overwhelming success the last, I don't know how many years. It's basically been cheap quarterback. Well, Jimmy G ended up not being cheap, but like, build your team.
It was cheap compared to this.
Yeah, good defense.
$20 million a year.
Good defense. Defense was not good last year, but good defense. Run the ball. Scheme well with Shanahan. That's why it's like, to me, what are you going to do? Because,
but also the defense wasn't good last year. because they started doing it. Debo got money. Ayuk got money. Christian McCaffrey got an extension. Like, that's where is the money? And now you are moving guys to free up some of that money and immediately give it to your quarterback. The blueprint for the Niners being good, they've abandoned
their
to
own
pay
blueprint.
their QB.
Yeah.
I just think that that the quarterback contracts have gotten to a point where when you look at like a Patrick Mahomes or a Josh Allen or whoever, that you can say they're always underpaid. Like, no matter what you're giving, like Patrick Mahomes is legitimately underpaid. And that has set this quarterback market to a place. And I just go, if you're not in that group, I can't justify giving you that money. And I just don't. I think Brock Purdy's good. I think Brock Purdy's even great, but I don't think Brock Purdy's in that group. And too often we've seen this recently where teams were undone by giving guys that money that didn't deserve it or weren't worthy of it.
Yeah, I mean, look, here's
But
my
anyway,
thing.
I look forward to them getting their George Pickens in a couple of years, because the reason that they haven't won the fucking NFC is because Brock Purdy just doesn't have enough weapons to go with wherever, and blah, blah, blah. And then the whole time we're going, or maybe Dak's just not that good. Maybe Dak's is just not that good. By the way, Brock Purdy is better than Dak.
Yeah, I agree.
But they're similar, and it's close.
They are similar. I mean, look, we've like after that first group of QBs, after Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Lamar, it's like then it gets interesting to me after like the top four. I don't know. I'd have to think about like where I'd put Brock Purdy in that next group. But like, I know you're a lot harder on Jalen Hurts, but I'm like, okay. He's won, like he's been in 2 Super Bowls. Now it's very similar as far as surrounding yourself with the defense and great skill position players. I'm just saying, like, I bet if both you or I asked, okay, let me ask a couple quarterbacks. Who would I rather have? Jaden Daniels or Brock Purdy? It's not even close.
Right.
It's not even close. It's not going to be close for you.
Also, Jaden Daniels is going to get the money.
Yeah. And
But he doesn't have it now. But he's going to get that money.
He also took a dumpster fire franchise to the championship game. Literally his first year in the NFL.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, we do it. Like, what is Brock Purdy and the Browns? It's like, again, I'm not trying to diss the guy. I think it is a great story. And look, he came in and he played damn good football, and that's why you're in this money. I just, in my head, I just say, I don't know the numbers, but I'm just saying, you want, okay, 181 million. How about 150? I don't know. Take 30 off. It's like, we're going to pay you a lot of money. We're not going to pay you this much money. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. I mean, look, there's still very high odds to win the Super Bowl. There's still very high odds to win their division, make it to the AFC or NFC Championship game.
Here's
all
the
those
thing:
things.
like from a totally unbiased standpoint, I just think if you're a Niners fan, you have to ask yourself: does locking up Brock Purdy for 5 years for this money help you or hurt you to win the Super Bowl? Because I think it's an interesting argument. The argument for help you is we don't have to think about a quarterback. We're not doing a quarterback dance. We're not finding a fucking diamond in the rough. We're not having to go through rookie fucking, growing pains. We're not having to worry about bringing a guy in to learn the offense. You are locked in. You have the biggest question mark on every NFL's franchise's board is who is playing quarterback for us. That question mark does not exist for the 49ers. They have a quarterback for 5 seasons. Counter, is that guy good enough to elevate the people around him to the point where we win a Super Bowl? Because we've gotten 2 Super Bowls. We've gotten into Super Bowls recently. Does he elevate us enough where the erasing of that question mark on the board didn't create enough smaller question marks lower on the board that they actually are now a bigger question mark? I think it's a very interesting question if you're a Niners fan, and I would lean toward the latter. But you could say it's a coin flip fucking decision. That's how close it is. But my instinct says it's the latter, not the former.
Yeah, I see you. I see it.
Now, if you were, again, the Bears, or if you were the Jets, or if you were one of these teams where we talked about if you were a quarterback, you'd never want to go there. If Brock Purdy was on the Bears these last couple years and put up the numbers he did, you have to pay him.
Yeah, I agree.
Because you have lived in a quarterback question mark. The Niners haven't really.
No.
Not a lot of question mark eras at quarterback for the Niners.
Well, and even in his own division. I'm just going to say.
By the way, including Brock Purdy. How did he get here? Their starter got hurt.
Yeah.
Then their backup got hurt.
Let's look at the NFC West. Playoffs. We're talking playoffs? I'm sorry. I'm taking Matthew Stafford. Game on the, like, if you said to me,
I mean, for me, if you're having that conversation with me, it's not even a question. I think Matthew Stafford's one of the most underrated quarterbacks.
But like, my point is playoff, game on the line, fourth quarter, drop, whatever you want to do. You have to win the game on the line, whatever it is, final drive. It's like, again, it's not a diss to Brock Purdy. It's just there's something about these guys who do make it to the big game and they make it to the Super Bowl and then they win it. It's a different level. And that will be my knock on a Purdy. That will be my knock.
And I would even say, I'm not saying Brock Purdy's not capable of that. I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure you can put the team around Brock Purdy that you need to for him to accomplish that with the number you just gave Brock Purdy.
And it'd be my same knock on like a guy like Joe Burrow who's been there. It's like Dan Marino. It's like, you guys are there, man. I know Rodgers only has one. He won it when he was there. These guys who only have one, it's like they won it when they're like Jalen Hurts made it back. He won it. It's like I don't know. Anyway, let us know. I'm in the middle of getting a new hotline. I'll have one up by Friday's show. I promise. So you can, in the meantime, you can call 310-359-8365.
Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, if that still exists. But I will have a new hotline up.
Great. And you can follow me at Joe Prano on all social media, joeprano.com for shows. Shout out to some folks who came out to the Don't Tell in South Lake Tahoe. Got some fun stuff coming, including former sponsor of the show, Minimal Golf Club, going to be doing their show. I believe that's May 29th. It's Thursday. Come to that. Follow me on TikTok and Instagram and all the things. And yeah. And stay tuned. Wednesday, game 1. Talk about a fucking Ryan Klatt situation. I don't have the ability to put my phone off and check things. We will, and I'm wondering if I can fucking rearrange this, but I'm supposed to record a podcast with Jay at 4:30. So that would be me missing like the first half hour of the game, and then probably hustling to, Andy and I have been there many times, that Buffalo Wild Wings in the right by where our
like Howard Hughes
Center. Probably me at the Howard Hughes Buffalo. If anybody wants to watch game 1 with me, it's probably happening at the Buffalo Wild Wings at Howard Hughes on Wednesday. I'll be there a half hour into the game. But that being said, follow me on Substack. Follow us on Substack at Joe Prano, at Dirty Sports. 5 o'clock Friday, game 2. Very likely I'll be going live for you guys. Very likely. No promises, but very likely. But before I get all the DMs and the messages, we going live for game 1. Maybe a halftime check-in from Buffalo Wild Wings, but otherwise we'll do Friday.
Cool.
Although every time I go live, they lose, and every time I don't, they win. So maybe it's the Substack live curse. But follow just in case. Because you know what? What I know about Joe Prano and Dirt, they'd rather watch me lose than watch me win.
Facts. All right, guys, that's the show. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys on Friday. Have a great week. And as always, stay dirty.